You ever have one of those Saturdays that start off so perfect you almost forget you're living in the real world? That was me sprawled out in my backyard, sun on my face, a cold soda sweating in my hand, ribs slow cooking on the grill, feeling like I'd finally carved out my own little slice of peace after years of grinding it out at work. Name's Marcus Tate, by the way. Senior analyst for a government agency, which basically means I spend my weekdays tracking down corruption and writing reports nobody wants to read. But weekends, that's my time, my backyard, my rules. At least that's what I thought before Eleanor Price crashed into my life like a pink freight train. It started with the crunch of high heels marching across my lawn, not the kind of sound you want interrupting your day off. And there she was, Eleanor, the HOA president, decked out in a pink suit that could blind you at 20 paces, sunglasses that probably cost more than my grill holding a clipboard like it was a sheriff's badge. She spat, finger jabbing like she was swatting a fly, are a disgrace to this community. Not exactly what you want to hear before your first bite of ribs. I just looked at her cool as I could manage, chewing slowly and trying not to let her rattle me. "Is there a problem, ma'am?" I asked. Real polite. She made a face like she'd stepped in something nasty. "A problem. Your pathetic little barbecue is the problem. My grandchildren are visiting and they need to swim. Where's your pool?" I almost choked right there because what kind of question is that? My yard's grass, a couple chairs, a grill. No pool, never had one, never promised one. I told her straight up, I don't have a pool. She fired back with, "The bylaws are clear properties. Like yours have to maintain community amenities. A pool is expected, and you've failed us." She tapped that clipboard, nails clicking like she was sharpening knives. "I've documented your non-compliance. You're a disgrace." I felt a chill, and not from the breeze, more from the way she said people like you last week when she walked by my barbecue making a crack about cheap meat lowering the neighborhood's value. I'd written it off as bitterness, or maybe just garden variety nosiness, but standing there with her finger in my face, I could see it was something more, something targeted, something ugly. I tried to stay logical, said, "Ma'am, there's no bylaw saying I have to build you a pool. This is my property." But she just laughed, this brittle fake sound that made my skin crawl. Property is a privilege, not a right. Your refusal to comply violates Section 17, subsection B, paragraph 6. You'll hear from our lawyer. We're suing you for $10,000 emotional distress and the pool you owe us, and we'll have you arrested for endangering the community. With that, she spun on her heel, pink blazer flashing like a warning sign, and stormed off. 3 days later, I get a cream-colored envelope from the HOA, heavy with fake authority. I'm not going to lie, my hands were steady, opening it, but my stomach wasn't. Letter was signed by Eleanor and 2 other board members demanding plans for a community pool within 30 days, or I'd face fines $100 a day, backdated plus a blurry photo of my crime scene stapled in, taken from her window. I'd read every word of the HOA bylaws before moving in. No such rule. This wasn't some misunderstanding, it was a setup, and I knew the real reason I didn't look like most of the neighbors, and she wanted me gone. The next move wasn't mail, it was muscle. Knock at my door one evening, and there's a sheriff's deputy standing on my porch, broad-shouldered, smug badge, shining in the sunset. "Evening," he says. "I'm Deputy Carl Ramsey. My Aunt Eleanor says you're new here. Just making sure you know how things work." His eyes took in every detail of my house, cold as ice. "She's had issues with you not being a team player. Property upkeep problems, hostility. That can become a criminal matter. Easier if you just built the pool." Aunt. That word hit me sideways. This wasn't just an HOA power trip. She had family and law enforcement backing her play. I kept my voice calm. Said, "Officer, are you here officially? Is there a complaint?" He shifted suddenly, less sure. "Just a community visit," he muttered, but I made sure to note his name and badge. "Well, unless there's a warrant." "I've got ribs to check," I said, and closed the door in his face. His last words, "My aunt always gets what she wants," stuck in my head long after he left. That's when I realized I wasn't just fighting for my backyard anymore. I was the target. Good thing my job had taught me a thing or two about documenting bull. I scanned the letter, saved the photo, wrote up everything, times, names, threats. A few days later, I got served official summons from the HOA suing me for 10 grand, claiming I'd violated some made-up covenant by not installing a pool. They even tried to get an injunction to stop me from changing my own yard. Most people would have panicked. Not me. I called James Carter, a civil attorney I'd worked with. Sharp, mean, loves a fight. Told him the whole story, sent over the docs. He laughed so hard I could hear it over the phone. They're suing you for not building a pool for her grandkids, and they invented a bylaw. Yup, I said. He got this dangerous tone in his voice. Marcus, this isn't a lawsuit. This is a gift. We're going to wipe the floor with them. We met the next day, his desk covered in papers, my file, the fake bylaw, the deputy's visit. This is frivolous, James said, but that deputy, that's conspiracy to deprive rights under color of law. That's federal. He started laying out a plan file, a motion to dismiss with the real bylaws, counterclaim for harassment, abuse of process, civil rights violations, and this was the kicker. If Eleanor was both president and treasurer, there might be something fishy with the money. That stuck with me. The next morning, I took a couple days off work, headed down to the county records office. Dug through HOA filings, and it was all right there for the first few years. Everything was accounted for. Then, about 6 years ago, when Eleanor took over as treasurer, the records got real vague. Big round numbers, 15 grand for landscaping. Nothing broken down, just fat checks. Looked like fraud to me. So I started putting real pressure on filed FOIA requests for Deputy Ramsey's body cam, pulled complaint. Histories emailed the state's real estate board asking about recall procedures for corrupt HOA boards. All above board, all quiet, all legal. But Eleanor wasn't going quiet. She started going nuclear. Circulated petitions claiming I was planning to build an eyesore, said my yard was killing property values, held secret HOA meetings in her living room. No invite for me, of course, painting me as a threat. Her cousin, off duty but standing guard in the corner, made sure nobody got too brave. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. One night I'm out back grilling jazz, playing real low, when suddenly 2 police cruisers, lights blazing, pull up outside. "Sir, we got a call about a disturbance, loud music shouting," one cop says. I just gesture to the ribs in the empty yard. "Officers, this is a malicious call. I'm being harassed by the HOA president. She's suing me over a pool I don't owe her. Her nephew, a deputy, has been trying to intimidate me." The cops see what's up quick. I file a formal complaint about false reports, and from her porch, Eleanor looks like she's about to explode. Now there's a record. Her games are catching up to her. That's when things snowballed. Our motion forced the HOA to cough up financials. James called me late at night. "It's worse than we thought. We're talking 85 grand in community funds, funneled to a fake landscaping company. Eleanor's own P.O. box, money spent on cruises, handbags, car insurance, even bribes for Ramsey Consulting, all coded as HOA expenses. That pool lawsuit, just smoke and mirrors to distract the board while she robbed them blind. We sent out a letter to every homeowner inviting them to a financial irregularities meeting at a local hotel. Eleanor freaked out, sent a late-night email full of typos, accusing me of forgery, which only made her look more guilty. The day of the meeting, 60 neighbors showed up, letter in hand, buzzing. Eleanor stormed in all black dress, and attitude, Ramsey right behind her. James projected the evidence, the fake bylaw, the money trail, the cruise tickets, the phony invoices. The room erupted, gasps, angry voices, Sarah, the retired teacher, calling for Eleanor's removal and a full audit. Right then, a detective walked in, flanked by police. Eleanor was arrested for embezzlement on the spot. Ramsey got called outside by Internal Affairs, and as they led Eleanor away, a process server handed her the counterclaim. The place went nuts. Justice in real time. Later, Eleanor pled guilty to felonies, is headed to prison, and owes restitution. Ramsey lost his badge and pension. My legal fees covered, and I donated the rest to a housing discrimination charity. Sarah took over as HOA president, made everything transparent, and the neighborhood started healing. These days, I can finally relax again in my yard grill, sizzling breeze in the trees, the scent of barbecue mixing with the sweet taste of victory. Funny how standing your ground can turn a backyard into a battleground, but also if you see it through a place of real community again. But hey, maybe that's just suburbia for you, or maybe it's just people. What about you? Where's the line between standing up for yourself and stirring up trouble? Who gets to decide what community even means? Let me know down in the comments. I have a feeling this isn't the last time a story like this will play out in a neighborhood like ours.